So today, guys, we're gonna kind of run you through what DVOM or a digital volt ohm meter is, and some of the basic functions and some of the common functions that, if you're talking to tech support on the phone, some of the things that we would ask you, what we need you to check, and how you would check that with a DVOM here. So you can see there's a couple of different styles here. This is really kind of your more traditional looking voltmeter here. So for today's video, this is the one we're going to be using here. So this is actually kind of a voltmeter and an amp clamp all in one. So you can see it here. If you ever need to check voltage, this is where you're going to go. So right now the meter is turned off. So if we turn it up here, so this is saying that this is where you're going to check AC and DC voltage. So you would turn the meter onto this setting for both of them. Now you can see though that there is a switch down here, AC/DC. So the meter currently says VAC. So this would be set up right now to measure volts AC. To measure DC voltage, you would hit the switch. Now it's ready to measure DC. On some meters, depending on what you're doing or how the meter is set up, you would have two different positions here instead of a button. And again, you would use the squiggly line for AC voltage, the straight line for DC voltage. So up here, we've got resistance. This is going to be another common one that we may ask you to check. So this would be for if we suspect maybe a bad wire or a bad coil or some other kind of component that we would need to verify the resistance on, maybe a heating element, things like that. That's what you would use this setting for. So this meter actually has, you can see the lines here, it actually has a beeper too. So you can hear when we just put it on the table here, there's a connection, and you hear it, and it's measuring the resistance of the table between the two leads here. But you can see when it's in the setting and there's nothing hooked to the leads, it says OL. And that's over limit because it can't measure the amount of resistance. I mean, it's too great of a resistance. So anytime that there's a connection between the two leads, you'll see it go back and forth between measuring and overload. So another common setting here that we would ask you to measure and is amperage. And again, so like I mentioned earlier, this is an amp clamp built into the meter here. So you would turn your dial all the way up to amps. You can see the squiggly line it's going to measure AC current. So when we push the button, it doesn't give you an option. There's really not a good way to measure DC amperage unless you wire in line with it. But really, for what we're doing, this is more than enough here. So that's kind of the overview of the meter. We can go ahead and we can plug in this control box, and we can measure various things, and I can show you basically how you would set the meter up, what we're checking, and how it would look on the meter.